Hello everyone, I'm Max Yu from Dai Jones Real Estate. Welcome to Max Local 101. Willoughby is such a diverse community. How can we make sure those minority voices being heard? Today, I'm very honored to interview the local Member of Parliament for Willoughby, King James. Let him share his vision for the local community. Hi Tim, thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Max. Always good to be with you.
Tim, I noticed that you started your politics career fairly early age. How did you get your interest into politics, and what was the early days like?
Yeah, I was still in high school, in fact, in Year 12, and studying, among other subjects, economics. And it was really a focus on policy that led me to want to be more curious and perhaps to seek to do something in politics. And after some consideration and discussion, I joined the party, the Liberal Party, of which I'm a very proud member. And I came to get involved, to join my local branch, to meet some people, and the rest is history. But it's, for me, politics is about service, and the purpose of that service is good public policy. So my focus has always been good public policy that is good for our country, good for our people, that is fair, and that will help us to flourish.
Willoughby is such a diverse community with 76,000 in population. Nearly 38% are speaking a different language at home.
Yes.
So how can you make sure those minority voices being heard?
Absolutely. Willoughby is a wonderfully diverse, vibrant, colourful, rich community in so many ways, in terms of our culture, our people, the arts, obviously, the background of people from across this community, many ethnicities and religions and backgrounds from right around the world. People from right around the world have chosen to make Willoughby their home, and we're very glad that they have done so, and of course for good reason. It's a wonderful place to live, to work, to raise a family, to run a business, and do much more. So how do we best ensure that we are in touch with all of those people? And you're quite right, there are very many people across this community who do not speak English at home, or for whom perhaps English was not their first language. The key obviously is to always be engaged, to be a part of each and every community organisation and group, to accept, as I try to do, every invitation that I can to come along to community organisations, schools, churches, charities, clubs, the fabric that in so many ways binds together our society. But we're on top of that, we're also taking certain initiatives. For example, my most recent newsletter, which will be in everyone's letterbox very soon before Christmas. We're going to have that translated into Chinese, and we'll look at perhaps doing it into other languages as well. But it is so important that we are in touch with people right across this electorate, and we're really trying to be very present, very engaged, and obviously to be able to communicate, whether it's newsletters or other materials, more directly with them, including perhaps in their native tongue as well.
I actually saw you very proactive on social media. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I think social media these days is a obviously very common and popular platform, in so many different ways, and I seek to use it to share a message, to tell this community what we're doing, obviously how we're seeking, their input, their ideas, their feedback, to provide updates, and really to paint a picture of activity, of service, and of delivery across this community. So the social media is an important vehicle for me, and I think for everyone in business and certainly in public life today. So I'd certainly encourage everyone to follow me on socials, please.
Yeah, we will. I've been living in local community more than 11, 12 years. I know that Liberal Party has been in power since 2011. So since during these times, I feel that the Willoughby community is become most desirable living in a location for Asian family, especially Chinese. And why do you think that? And what has the current government done?
Sure. So Firstly, let me say that I have huge regard and respect for Chinese Australians. They are overwhelmingly hard-working, good, decent, enterprising people who treasure their family, they're proud of their culture, they love their community, they immerse themselves in our community organisations, and they are some of the very best citizens that we have across this state seat. They choose to live here, I think, for many reasons: lifestyle, proximity, natural environment. But one of the main reasons, Max, is the quality of education in this area. We have 19 schools in the Willoughby electorate, and they are all very good schools. That's a mix of state schools and independent schools. And people from around the world have flocked to this community because of the very high quality of the education that is available to children here. And that's something that we as a government, certainly Gladys, my predecessor, and I now, working very hard to ensure our schools, are fit for the future, are delivering high quality education, that we're meeting the demand. So I'll give you an example. In Chatswood, the high school and the public school development together, that's over $250 million of government money, ensuring that those schools have new classrooms, new science laboratories, new arts centres, new sporting fields and spaces to give those kids the very best of education. And I think that is so important going forward.
I believe every cultural groups have a different views and concerns for living in the local community. In your observation, what's the difference for Asian groups, especially Chinese? What are their concerns different with the Western group?
Well, I think people of Chinese background do place a very high importance upon education, as I mentioned, and I respect that greatly. And I think we have really invested and catered to those very high expectations, and rightly so. I think the Chinese Australian community is also very enterprising, hardworking. They tend to be very engaged in small business, in family business, and hopefully those businesses are growing, and some of them indeed have become big business as well. So if you look at Chatswood, it is a real centre of commerce, of business, of retail, of enterprise. And
we in Chinese community, we call it centre of universe.
Well, there you
we
go.
call Chatswood centre of universe.
Well, Chatswood's where I went to childcare a long time ago, back in the late 1970s, and it's also where I got my first job in 1992. But these days, Chatswood really is a thriving metropolis in a lot of ways, of activity, of growth, of investment. And that is, in a lot of respects, driven by people who are hardworking, many of Chinese background, and for that, we thank them, and we're very proud of what it is that they bring, the investments, the jobs, the opportunities that creates. Does mean a great deal, absolutely.
Right. And recently, I know that you founded Parliamentary Friends of the Chinese Community.
Yes.
Can you please tell us more about it?
Yeah, of course. So across the New South Wales Parliament, there are a number of Parliamentary Friends groups, and this is a new group designed to ensure that all members of Parliament, whatever our politics, whatever party we are from, that we are very engaged across the Chinese Australian community. And what we've found is there are so many great people and organisations and events and opportunities to come together to, for example, this year to celebrate, as we just have 50 years of diplomatic relations between China and Australia. But there are so many great causes and opportunities to bring people together. And so the purpose of the Parliamentary Friends Group is to help us all as members of Parliament to be aware of occasions, of events, of opportunities, and also to try to collaborate, again, whatever our party or politics, to really try to come together in support of Chinese Australians and to be there together to deepen our understanding and to be able to do more and better for Chinese Australians. So I'm very proud to have helped to found the Parliamentary Friends of Chinese Australians.
I think you're playing very important roles to enhance the relationship between China and Australia.
It's important. It's very important. It has been so in a formal diplomatic sense for 50 years, but as we look ahead, both locally and certainly for New South Wales, and certainly for Australia and the world more broadly, this is a very significant relationship and one we must always care for and give support to and encouragement and opportunity to. And so vehicles like the Parliamentary Friends Group are a really valuable platform to help us to do that.
To wrap up today, Tim, the next election is around the corner. What's your vision and what are you trying to achieve?
Thanks very much, Max. So I've been in this role now for 9 months, and you're quite right, back to the polls in just a few months' time. So Saturday the 25th of March is a regular general election. They come every 4 years here in New South Wales, and so I will humbly submit myself to the people of Willoughby, having at that point in time only been on the job for about 12 months. Normally a new state member would have 4 years to get the job done and prove themselves. So I feel that it's so important for me to be so engaged, so hardworking, to be listening and acting and delivering for the people of Willoughby. And I believe that's what I've done for 9 months, and I will do it even more for the few months between now and March. And obviously it's important in politics to lay out a vision, and I have laid out a very positive and strong vision for Willoughby. We all know it's a great place to live and work and raise a family, but we can make it better still. And so whether it's in terms of education, I've made a commitment for 2 new schools in this electorate, one in Chatswood, one at St Leonard's Gore Hill. I'm working on making sure our environment obviously is preserved and looked after, but at the same time, where possible, creating in what is an urban environment, green space and open space and public space. So I'll give you an example. In Crow's Nest, for example, there is an old car park, an early 1980s car park on Halterman Street, and this government, together with the council, is putting that car park underground, so putting the cars underground, and on ground level there will be grass and a playground and open public space, and I think those investments are very important too. We all know, of course, particularly after recent years in COVID, that healthcare is so important. It is at all times, obviously, and we're very fortunate in this area to have the Royal North Shore Hospital, where I was born and my mum worked, and in fact my great-grandfather George James was on the founding committee for that hospital a long time ago. So I feel a deep affinity to that hospital, and my job as local member is to ensure that that hospital is well resourced, that it has capacity and strength to be able to grow, to meet our future healthcare needs, to do what this community would hope and expect it would do to care for them, their families and community going forward. So they're just a few areas. Obviously there's roads, always work to do in roads and traffic in this area. It is a busy part of the world, no question about that. Public transport, I'll just touch briefly on the metro. That is a multi-billion-dollar transformative investment in public transport. So from Chatswood to Crow's Nest, North Sydney, Barangaroo, Martin Place, that will, every 5 minutes from 2024, those new driverless, efficient, clean trains will be coming through Willoughby and adding a very valuable service and a very timely service, I think, to people of this community. So there's much more to talk about, of course, but they're just a few snapshots, and it's a positive, ambitious vision, and I really encourage everyone to visit my website, timjamesmp.com.au. Have a look, see what it is that I'm standing for, and please give me your feedback and your input along the way.
Thank you very much, Tim, for today. If any of you would like to know more about what's happening in Willoughby, please visit Tim's office in Northbridge. Thank you today.
Thanks so much, Max. Thanks very much indeed. Great to see you.